Good morning. Welcome to all. Are you hearing me? Good. Okay, excellent. I just am not hearing myself. That's good. That's good. Better that way. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are indeed welcome to come in and sit down because we're part of a family. This family that welcomes each and every person. All that we encounter. We're working and living to open our hearts and our minds to each person that we meet, to each person, whether they are alike or quite different than us, whether they hold similar views or different, whether they look alike or not. We open ourselves as community, as family, to welcome and to make it so that we don't just feel welcome, as the sign at the door says, but that we feel we belong. So welcome to each of you here this morning in this room. Welcome to all of you gathering online via live stream or recorded video. Welcome to you all. When we meet in this place, we light a candle. There's nothing special about lighting a candle. We do it all the time. Maybe you do it at your meals, at home. Maybe you come from a tradition where candles were meaningful in many diverse and different ways. We light them at special occasions, and we blow them out on special occasions. But the light in our midst is our community candle, and it reminds us of our connection with each other. It reminds us that we're connected at a atomic level, that we are connected as human beings, one with another. We are connected with the plants, the animals, the creatures of sky and sea and air and land. We're connected also with those close at hand, those in this room, but also those very far away, those experiencing very different days than we are experiencing at this moment. This candle also connects us with that spark of sacredness that dwells in and among us all. And so please, whenever we are in this space, and your mind wanders, as it does, and something sparks your imagination or your daydream or your night dream, if you had a bad night, set your eye on the flame. Know that it connects us. Know that wherever we are in this room, watching online, or across the world, we are one. And it's part of what makes us who we are. So why don't we then sing about opening our hearts and our minds and our lives to each other by singing this song together, I Will Open My Heart. It is a statement of what we wish we could do and are doing at every moment. Our highest aspiration, to open our hearts to our living this morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah, Chris is right. It's hard to tell. I'm talking. I'm your Mary McFarland. I'm the gathering companion for this morning. And I'm going to offer our land acknowledgement this morning. I was born and I grew up in Calgary. As an older teen, I went on a summer work program with Frontiers Foundation called Operation Beaver. I worked one summer in northern Quebec in an Algonquin village called Picogan. We young volunteers worked that summer with members of the community on repairing and painting the homes in the village. It was a wonderful summer for me. I made new friends, and I got to meet and get to know many of the people who lived in Picogan village. A few years later, I moved to Saskatoon to attend St. Andrew's College, Theological College. Through life circumstances, I ended up living in Saskatchewan for the next 48 years. Then last fall, I made the move back to Alberta, the place of my birth. I'm sorry to say that through the many and varied experiences of my life, I did not hear or do not recall hearing stories about residential schools or about residential school survivors. It wasn't until the Truth and Reconciliation Commission began its work that I began to hear and learn more about these stories. Stories that were long overdue for me to be hearing. It is important for me and for each of us to remember that the land that we live on is the traditional territory of the First Nations people and of this land. It is important to remember the long history of this land that reaches back beyond colonization and establishment of European colonies. It is important to acknowledge the traditional land and help us to see the significance of the Indigenous peoples who lived here and continue to live in the places that we are, whose practices and spiritualities are tied to the land and continue to develop in relationship to the land and its other inhabitants, a teaching from which we must always learn. And so today, here in Edmonton and in Saskatoon, both places I called and now call and have called home, we recognize that we are situated on Treaty 6 territory, traditional land of many First Nations and the Métis people. Wherever you are, may you recognize the great and long history of the place and land you find yourselves living. And may these times lead us to intentions and actions to live in strong relationships with the earth and all the planet's people and creatures.
the peace, stay on the peace train.
Thank you. Did you see it up there and you knew?
I actually saw it like flash.
You just saw it and you knew? Hi, everyone. Come to the carpet if you'd like. It's our time for all ages. We'll always make room on the carpet for everyone. There's room around the edges. There's room in the middle. There's also room in the front row. You can sit on a chair if you like. Hi, hello. Ooh, I'm so glad to see you. I want to read to you a story today called The Quilt Maker's Gift. Does anyone know this story? Oh, good. Then I can share it with you for the first time. This is kind of a long story. I'm actually not going to read it all. But if you like it, you'll come back next week and hear the next part. Okay, here it is. It's The Quilt Maker's Gift. I should say it's by Jeff Brumbo, and the illustrations are by Gail DeMarkin. Here we go. Pictures are up on the screen or here in the book if you can see. There was once a quilt maker who kept a house in the blue, misty mountain up high. I'll hold it like this. Even the oldest great-great-grandfather could not recall a time when she was not up there sewing away day after day. Here and there, and wherever the sun warmed the earth, it was said that she made the prettiest quilts anyone had ever seen. The blues seemed to come from the deepest part of the ocean, the whites from the northernmost snows, the greens and purples from the abundant wildflowers, the reds, oranges, and pinks from the most wonderful sunsets. Some said there was magic in her fingers. Some whispered that her needles and cloth were gifts from a witch. And still others said the quilts really fell to earth from the shoulders of passing angels. Well, regardless, she was special, and her quilts were special. Many people climbed her mountain. Their pockets were bursting with gold, hoping to buy one of these wonderful quilts. But the woman would not sell them. I give my quilts, she said, to those who are poor or homeless, and especially those who are grateful. They are not for sale. On the darkest and coldest nights, the woman would make her way down the mountain to the town below, and she would wander the cobblestone streets until she came upon someone sleeping outside in the cold. She would then take a new quilt from her bag, wrap it around their shivering shoulders, tuck them in tight, and tiptoe away. Then the very next morning, with a steaming cup of blackberry tea, she would begin a new quilt. Okay, so now there's another part of this story, and it goes like this. At this time, there also lived a very powerful and greedy king. This king liked nothing better than to receive presents. The hundreds of thousands of beautiful gifts he got for Christmas and his birthday were never enough. So a law was passed that the king would celebrate his birthday twice a year. Ta-da! When that still wasn't enough presents, he ordered his soldiers to search the kingdom for those people who had not yet given him a gift. Did you give the king a gift? No. Well, then give him a gift. Over the years, the king had come to own almost all of the prettiest things in the world. Throughout the castle, from top to bottom, in drawers and on shelves, in boxes and trunks and closets and sacks, all of the king's countless things were stashed. Oh, here's a picture of all the things. Things that shimmered and glittered and glowed, things whimsical and practical, things mysterious and magical, so many, many things that the king kept a list of all the lists of things he owned. He had a list of a list, exactly. And yet, with all these marvelous treasures to enjoy, the king never smiled. He was not happy at all. Somewhere there must be one beautiful thing that will finally make me happy. He was often heard saying that. But then he added, "And I will have it." One day, a soldier rushed into the palace with news about a magical quilt maker who lived in the mountains. The king stomped his foot. "And how is that this person has never given me one of her quilts as a gift?" "Well, she only makes them for the poor, Your Majesty," the soldier replied. "And she will not sell them for any amount of money." "Well, we shall see about that," the king roared. "Bring me a horse and 1,000 soldiers," and they set off in search of the quilt maker. But when they arrived at her house, the quilt maker merely laughed. "Ha ha, my quilts are for people who really need them. They're for the poor. They're people who are grateful for what they have. And I can see that you are neither." "I want one of those quilts," said the king. "It might be the one thing that will finally make me happy." The woman thought for a moment. Oh, look, there's a picture of the king here. See? Make presents. Oh, the woman thought for a moment. Make presents. This is what she said to the king. "Make presents of everything you own. And then I'll make a quilt for you. With each gift that you give, I'll sew on another piece. When at last all your things are gone, your quilt will be finished." "Give away all my wonderful treasures?" cried the king. "I don't give things away, I take them." And with that, he ordered his soldiers to seize the beautiful star quilt from the quilt maker. But when they rushed upon her, she tossed the quilt out the window. And a great gust of wind carried it up, 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 and away. Well, you'd think that would be the end of the story, but it ain't the end of the story. Look, there's all these pages left. But that's all for now. Oh! Isn't that fun? But can we talk about it? We'll read more. Just be patient. 7 days is all you have to wait. And then maybe you will have a quilt. No, I just made that up. Why did the king want all these presents? Why? Why did the king want everyone to give him presents, and not just one, but twice a year? And why does he want all those presents? Yeah, he just wants everything, and he wants to be the richest, have everything for himself, hey? But did you hear in the story what was he looking for? Do you know what he was really looking for? He said, "None of these presents are making me happy." The king was not happy. Even though he had all this stuff, he just wanted one more because maybe that would make him happy. And then it didn't. So he wanted more and more, and that didn't make him happy. Oh my gosh. I don't know why he wasn't happy. but he didn't seem to be looking in the right place, would you say?
He's not happy because his house is not clean, because
Well, that's an interesting idea. So we just shared up here that maybe he wasn't happy because his house was so full and busy and dirty. How do you think this woman is different?
she's opposite because she's more poor,
Mm-hmm.
she's more friendly,
Mm-hmm. She's more friendly. Sh-
and she's giving it to the poor.
She's giving things to the poor and people who need them. Does that make her happy? It seems like it maybe does. It seems like that what she's doing makes her happy. So the king has to give everything away in order to get a quilt. I wonder if he's going to do it. Do you think he will? I don't think so either. I don't know. We'll see. He has to give everything away. Do you remember how much stuff was in his room? In his house? He has to give that all away, and then maybe he'll get a quilt. Do you think that'll be hard for him? Oh, I think so too. I think he might have to just think a little bit differently if he's going to do that. Otherwise, it's going to be really painful. I wonder what happens. Well, I got to tell you, here's a little hint. Before he gets better, he gets worse. Well, thanks for story time. That was really exciting. Come back for more. And in the meantime, Kid Spirit is happening. You're welcome to go to Kid Spirit this morning. You're welcome to be in the toy room if that's where you need to be, or with your grown-ups. Thanks for coming. Maybe we should leave all our Sunday reflections and messages on a cliffhanger. It might work. I hadn't considered this before. We have some exciting things to share as a community, as we always do, and I know a number of you have some things to share. So please come forward with anything you have to share with the community, things upcoming, or what you might have to tell us about things coming up. I'll just say a little note about all the ways that we give. This morning there are boxes at the back of the room. There's ways on our website that you can donate to us, or by e-transfer. There are a lot of ways to connect and give to the life of the community, including things you can do. And lots of people have some ideas around that too. So thank you for all the ways you give and donate, and we appreciate it. It's all we do. Thanks to you and your generosity. Who have we got? May, come on forward. I'll just grab you this microphone.
Good morning. I'm May Kellerman, your vice chair, your SSUC board vice chair. And as I say, he went and stole everything I was going to say. Yeah, he just does it. Anyway, so first off, thank you very much for all the ways that you support the extraordinary work of this community. And I would like to give you an opportunity to just give yourselves a clap and a hand. And if you were wondering, what do we do beyond what we do here on a Sunday, some of this is detailed in this package that you received, and if you haven't got it, and if you're at home and you're wondering how you can get it, packages will be mailed out to people. So everybody should get that. And the next thing is that within this package is a list of ways in which we can support, not just financially, but with our time and our talents, the work of this community. And I'd like you to really take it home and reflect on ways that you can continue or new ways that you can support this work. What is your passion? What are your extreme talents? And if you could reflect on that and then bring this package back to us so we know we can pump up our volunteer lists so that we know who we can call on for various things. And I wrote a little list of things I must not forget to say. Over the course of this month, you're going to be hearing from various people within our community about ways that they do support SSUC and the work we do internally and externally. So that's something to look forward to. And a little slogan to reflect on. At SSUC, we give what is right, not what is left.
Good morning, I'm Meredith Cranhoff, and I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who made it out on Friday night for our jukebox event. Thanks for coming. Thanks for everyone who gave their time and energy to the event. Also, there were lots of people supporting it, so we don't have a final number as far as what we raised yet. So I will be back probably to give you that announcement at some point soon. But I just wanted to say thanks again for that.
Okay, folks, some of us weren't paying attention when we put the Affirm lunch message in the e-messenger. We are not having the Affirm lunch this week because it's the first Sunday of the month. We are having it next week because it's the second Sunday of the month. Okay, so I hope that you folks didn't bring a huge appetite for today because, well, no, I shouldn't say that because I hear rumor that there might be a dessert or two left over from some of the events that have gone on in the last week. So there might be some things to eat, but it just won't be an affirming lunch. So we'll see you next week, okay? Okay?
Lois Evans from the Moving Forward with Reconciliation Committee. Next Sunday after church, they're going to have a gathering regarding the remit.
Two Sundays.
Two Sundays. Okay, regarding the remit, and to stay after church, there will be coffee and bannock, and we'll be discussing what that means for the United Church. We welcome everybody to stay. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jo Nicholas, and I'm either an elf with a artisan market cookie walk or with property maintenance. But today it's all about cookie donations. So first, of course, we have our spectacular shortbread. Tall. Comes in many varieties. Or savory. But wonderful, it doesn't matter how you look at shortbread. And then next we have our perennial ginger snaps. Now, of course, there's two different kinds of ginger snaps. You've got your hard, snappy ones, or you've got your oh-so-soft, chewy ones. And says I really shouldn't sexualize cookies. And last but not least, we have, as far as I'm concerned, the queen of all delicacies all year long, our butter tarts. And there's controversy about butter tarts as well, because they can either have raisins or no raisins, with nuts or no nuts, but always flaky pastry and lovely sweetness. So the sign-up sheet is in the foyer. We are looking for 300 dozen cookies, which is down 700 dozen dozen from other years. So we're only looking for 300 dozen. This is not difficult, people. 1,000 dozen is what usually comes in the door. Don't break my heart. Sign up, please. Thank you so much.
The wisdom teaching today comes from the Christian tradition. This reading is from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 12, verses 22 to 27. Jesus said to his disciples, "I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothing. Consider the ravens. They neither sow nor reap. They have neither storehouse nor barn, and yet they have food enough. And can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your span of life? If then you are not able to do so small a thing as that, why do you worry about the rest? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these." This is a wisdom teaching from the first century Christian tradition. May we find wisdom for our living.
Well, it's been such a week in the life of our community, and maybe maybe it's been atypical, but maybe not. Maybe it's been pretty much like any week in the life of SSUC. There were the highs of a well-planned, amazingly creative and fun music event. Thank you, Aaron and the team. We can clap for that. But I want to tell you about some of the other things that were going on this week, too. There were quiet moments of talking about the pain of losing a parent, the need for one-on-one support and sharing. Yesterday, we ministered to some families in celebrating the life of a loved one. A number of people worked their butts off to prepare to get you some material that are in envelopes in the foyer or are now online where people can access them. We had some initial conversations and consultations about an upcoming wedding. And the stress of our building's internet going out for days at a time, that happened on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. We conducted interviews for our media and marketing position. And then right next to that, we had conversations about the vulnerability in places of war and death in the world and how we can possibly wrap our minds and hearts around whatever response we might have. That is really just an ordinary week. Our community can be messy and chaotic. But this is our church, and I think we would take messy and chaotic any day. It's also part of the sacredness of the world we love. We love this space, all this life whirling around, all the ways that life evolves here, the welcoming of new beginnings, the grief as we have to say goodbye, the stress of family, the rush of planning, of serving, of creating. It's noisy, messy, creative, amazing. It's breathless, it's full, it's anxious, it's motion and energy, and it's fearless most of the time. This is who we are. It's part of the sacredness of the world we love. Now, this could all be anxiety-producing, and I will confess there are moments in that week that I just described where I would honestly say I had a little bit of stress. Of course, we all do in the weeks, in the days of our living out our lives. We all at times feel unsettled or worried or anxious or stressed or frazzled or overwhelmed. There are many words and many feelings for the busyness, sometimes the craziness of our lives. And don't tell me you're retired so your life isn't crazy. I know. You've told me. It just gets worse. The question I'm asking today is, how do we look at that anxiety? In the midst of everything we're doing, how do we approach it? With what mindset do we approach our busy lives, our stress, our anxiety? And the question I'm asking really is, do we approach it with a mindset of scarcity or with a mindset of abundance? And I want to just describe those two. There are lots of ways to describe scarcity and abundance, but I want to describe it to you in this way. First, with the idea of scarcity. Scarcity, if we have a mindset of scarcity, we ask questions like the following. There's not enough time. There's nothing left for what's important. I don't know if I can get through this. I don't know what to do. These all come from a mindset of scarcity. Now, they're honest, and we can all admit to each other, I'll be the first, that my mind immediately goes here when I'm faced with adversity and with challenge. I'm thinking, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I can do what I need to do. There's not enough time for me to do everything I need to do. These are always my go-to, and I suspect that you might think similarly. Our mindset of scarcity is, in our culture, in our busyness, it is natural, and it's just what we do. Now, the other side of that screen, the other side of that equation are statements of abundance. And they speak about things like this. There will be time for what's important. I have the resources to be creative and prioritize what's important. I will get through this with the help I need. I know what to do because I've faced this kind of adversity before. Now, there's a whole other list of statements we could put in on these lists. These are just 4 on each side. Yeah, there are oodles more. But as we contemplate these two worldviews, we recognize that we are very good at the first and not so great at the second. But it's a path, it's a movement. It's something for us to ponder. Just how much are we in one mindset or the other? So then, we're pondering this, and then Jesus comes along, whammo. That's always the way he works. In his teachings with his disciples, in the stories that we've inherited, most of them come with a whammo to our living. Meaning, somehow, they whack us over the head and in the heart with a simple story that turns out to not be so simple. So I want to dive into that not-so-simple story of birds and flowers. Consider the birds. They neither sow nor reap, they have neither storehouse nor barn, and yet they have food enough. Well, okay, great. But the birds ain't dealing with no internet. The point being made in this simple story is that if you make your own personal security the main focus of your outlook and your life goals, what you'll paradoxically find is that it might just destroy you through anxiety or leave you isolated and alone. This is the thesis. I am positing to you that this is what is really being talked about here. Are we worried about us alone? Or are we worried about something broader than that? So he says, why do you worry? Ponder the birds or the flowers. Yeah, okay. So at first blush, it seems pretty naive of Jesus to just say, okay, pack up all your worries and just go stare at a flower for a while. Make everything better. Flowers don't worry, they don't have anxiety, but they also don't have our big brains with big things to worry about. But interestingly, this story doesn't say become like the flowers or become like the birds. It says ponder them. There's a difference. This teaching says consider the lilies, consider the bird. If you ponder the existence of a bird or a lily long enough, it might just free you in a way you hadn't considered. And this is our connection to all of nature. We find the more time we spend, the more we understand the nature's connection to our spirituality, we can understand this. In a forest, by a river, overlooking a lake, heck, staring at a picture of one we visited 2 years ago. That'll do it too. The point is, ponder them. So what does that do? We can again be cynical. I have my moments. So Jesus, are we just supposed to stop everything and just hang out and think about birds? How will that help? And I think what we are all experiencing when we connect with nature, when we connect in ways that broaden our experience out of the routine and the ruts that we're in, we recognize that it forces us to take the single vision blinders off. I'm thinking about this, I'm worrying about this, that's all I can think about. This says, take those off. Consider something else. Even if it's just something that's insanely beautiful, consider it. Because you're going to stop, and I'll say focusing on, but in my life I could say obsessing about, that. Be present, just pay attention to things we normally ignore and overlook. And there's something subversive about that. It moves us to a different priority. As we ponder nature, birds, flowers, the abundance that they thrive within, we open our eyes to an ecosystem. We open our eyes to an ecosystem that demonstrates real value, each relying on each other. That bird does not exist alone. That bird has a food supply. That bird may have a mate, either temporarily or for life. That bird has a system within which it lives. Each existing but not requiring, and also requiring the nurture and sustenance of the whole system for life and flourishing. So, this isn't just about a bird and a flower. This is about pondering all that that means. We talk a lot about money. Come to think of it, Jesus talked a lot about money. We do that because you can exchange it for stuff that we need and we want. The one definition of value. Value is something we place on something that we need or we want, so we'll pay our money for it. But there's something about a way of living, a different way of living, or a way of living layered on top of that sense of value that is a different mindset. We will never get rid of our system of exchange and money. We all live within that. But what do we layer on top of that? There's something of value there, where there's a different type of currency involved and a different type of value. It's this ecosystem value. Ponder the birds, ponder the flowers. If, for example, I do something as part of my spiritual practice that brings some kind of meaning and value. Let's say I love my neighbor and I choose to use some of my resources to help out somebody who I know is struggling. The love and the generosity, and now the bond, the relational bond, is something there that has been invested in a relationship. There's value. Healthy, whole relationships are one of the greatest things of value in this kind of mindset. So things of value that cost money, sure, of course. But what other things of value are in our lives? What are the things that we have also invested in? Part of our practice, our daily practice, our weekly practice. Maybe it's coming here, maybe it's a walk in nature, maybe it's the way you volunteer at the food bank or at Bissell or in your neighborhood community league, whatever it is. We are investing in a different kind of value. And generosity creates those types of bonds between people. And in this alternative economy, they might be more enduring than a good meal or a new pair of jeans, which in 6 hours I'm hungry again, or in 6 months I probably can't do them up. Perhaps this abundance mindset tells us that we can find more joy and abundance out of a network of people who experience this kind of radical level of generosity towards each other than we will in whatever new Tesla model or what second winter coat looks the coolest. Different values. We live in both, but they're different. This idea of abundance, of caring for the whole ecosystem, the whole community, and the thing about the birds and the flowers and anxiety, these two teachings are all wound up. These are all one. These are all one. It's all part of one wisdom teaching about our priorities, what we really value. Can we see the same overabundance that Jesus sees in a field of wildflowers? Sure we can. But where is it going to change us? Where is it going to say stop? Ponder this for a minute. Where do you fit into the whole ecosystem of your community, of your friends, of your family? And what's most important to you? Where do you rely on others and where do others rely on you? Where is our raven, our bird, our lily? And how can we open ourselves to let it free us from this mindset of scarcity that we all default to so much? So, really, that's just all one big question. Where can we look at the world and see abundance? Can we be about the practice of seeing it every day? That scarcity mindset has me saying, can I really give myself to this cause or this community or to this thing or that thing because there won't be enough left for what's important to me? Or maybe we say, here's what's important to me. There will be enough because I will prioritize. Can I let it open me to a mindset of abundance that points us to the people who love us, to the resources of our ecosystem, and all that's built in to help us stop and see the sacredness of all and everything? Because if we see the sacredness of all and everything, that's the environment that we're given within to flourish, in which to thrive. So all of this comes from 2 lines about a bird and a flower. I'm sorry I spent 10 minutes on it. Maybe more, I don't know. But let's let it sink deeply into us and see our lives as overflowing. They are. They are abundant. There is enough within us, around us, between us, and from that place we'll know what it is to ensure that community and network is cared for in your life, in mine, in everyone's. So may it be so for all of us in so many ways. And now some music. This time, I invited Art Garfunkel, but he didn't come for some reason. But he did make a recording at one point of a song called Grateful. It's a song by John, what the heck's his name? Let me look. Pacino, that's it. So let's listen to this song. I've put some visuals up on the screen of a book that was illustrated by Annalisa Hakkarainen, and it's a lovely way to express this and to just let our minds and hearts ponder, if not the lilies and the birds, then perhaps a beautiful voice and a beautiful message.
I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed when I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, or dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score. In a world that can bring pain, I will still take each chance, for I believe that whatever the terrain, our feet can learn to dance. Whatever stone life may sling, we can moan or we can sing. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Truly blessed and duly grateful.
As May introduced us a few whiles ago, she said that we will be hearing from a few different folks over the course of the next 4 weeks in the month of November, all a way for us to ponder kind of the different ways we support our community and communities. And if you haven't met these two, I want to introduce you to Ruth and Dean, who are going to share a little bit this morning about the many ways that they support their community. And I'll get you a microphone.
Or the many ways that the community supports us. So a couple of weeks ago, Bernie stood up and started to thank people and talked about all the different activities. She said, put your hand up if you participated, and the hands went up. Every task or activity or event, there were more hands raising and falling, and behind me there was this voice that said, I didn't know I had done so much.
Yeah, that's community. And that community invited us in. It was a little over a year ago that Ruth and I walked in that pair of doors and came into here, this hall. I heard the music and I sat down and just allowed that beautiful music to wrap around me. I listened to the melodies, I listened to the harmonies, and I was enriched.
And I heard the reflections, and I felt nourished. And people asked if we could help move chairs or tables for this event or that event, and yeah, we could do that.
Oh, yes. And then Trudy said, I need some help in the kitchen. And oh, we knew what to do in a kitchen, both of us. And we went in there, and once a month since then, we've been in there helping clean the kitchen and sterilize. And yeah.
We know how to do that. So there were so many things that we were invited to. May said, do you want to go for a walk on the coldest night of the year? And I thought, yeah. I mean, what's warmer than the friendship on a cold walk? That introduced us to the Bissell Center and set other wheels in motion.
The choir. I joined the choir, a wonderful group of people, wonderful voices. And I'll be back to the choir as soon as I'm able to get my music lessons dates for those changed. But until then, I will come and I will listen with my heart and my ears.
And there were places where people asked for help. The Moving Towards Reconciliation Committee, the supporting the refugees who this congregation are coddling and moving out into the world. And that gave me connection with people, the ability to develop friendships. And it gave me a feeling that I was doing something of value.
I took part in and joined the committee for the Guess Who's Coming for Dessert. Oh, yeah, we've got the cookie drive coming up, right? What lovely connection. Margaret invited us to her house, and we sat there and planned. But the planning was fueled by biscuits and tea that she provided. And there was that lubricant of conversation and getting to know people a little better. Ah, yes.
So we walked in, we were welcomed. We were invited to tasks and activities. We were included. And from that,
welcoming, including, trust, leading to belonging.
thank you.
So we change the light to take it out into the world, and as we do, we will speak our words of intention that will empower us, strengthen us, give us what we need to remind us that we're not alone, that we go together. So let's speak these words with one another. We join together with hearts full of gratitude and eyes open to see the places of abundance in our lives. We engage our inner journeys towards hearts open to receiving and hands open to generosity. May our work and play, our time and energy, our resources and priorities be put to use toward a world of justice and belonging. Through every aspect of our lives, may we lay a foundation of responsiveness, responsibility, and rejoicing. May we work to make it so.
Just one thing before our going out song here. I'm really glad that I said that I might play guitar before I learned my extreme talent, because I do not have that. So I brought some meager talent, but I'm very glad to play. And we actually also suggested this song before we learned what the overall theme of the month is. And when we learned what the theme of the month was, we couldn't play Go Make a Difference and not use some of the words. So we invite you to sing along with Go Make a Difference, which might be my favorite song in More Voices, period. And we can think about how we can go make a difference in our community here or outside of it. Okay. Now I can't play this sitting down either.